Okay, we're here with a continuation for our
Yeah.
terms and
So,
information last week. So, Maxwell, you were telling me
yes.
about what happened. You gave an AI presentation. I want to hear all about it.
Yes. So, it was on ethics and AI. Um, yes,
This is what
ethics
you
and
gave a
AI.
presentation
Yes, I gave a presentation on it. It was about the social aspects of it, the school aspects of it, and then the job aspects of it.
on? You
Pros and
serious?
cons. Yes. Yeah, I can give you the slideshow.
I would love to take a look at this. I'm
Yes. Yeah.
so excited.
Um, yes. Let me send that to you. I need to get
I'm
a
so
PDF.
excited.
Yeah,
You gave
I've
a
been working on this
presentation
for like
about
months.
this.
Yeah, I've been working on this for like several months. Um,
I'm so excited for you.
yeah, so I'm getting a district award for this in a little over a month. This is not the only district award I've gotten because there's also more.
I would,
Um,
is it okay if I take a look at some of
yes,
maybe a
yes.
couple of slides that you have?
Yeah, yeah. I'm downloading the PDF so I can actually send it to you.
I am so excited for you. I'm very proud of you too. This is excellent.
Thanks. Let me get open that. Actually, let me open the file of
So
it so
you
I can
gave this
drag it.
presentation in front of,
Teachers and educators, members of Chevron, and uh, yeah,
I
that's
feel
what I gave this to.
so, I feel like I just feel so proud.
Thanks. And it's uploading.
Okay, I am really
And
excited.
yeah, and I okay. Oh, I don't need two. I just need one copy. Yeah, okay. I sent the file to you. Yeah, so there was that. And then I am getting an award for it, and the $80,000 carbon fiber drone. It is a regular drone with a carbon fiber exoskeleton. Basically, it has like spherical cage of carbon fiber around it, and it uses optical sensors, no GPS. It simply uses optical sensors to see where it is, and you can move it, and then it moves accordingly. That's why the carbon fiber cage is there. And then they also have this massive DJI drone that like probably like over 100K. Yeah, and they use all this for routine maintenance. And they let me drive around the spot because the fact that it is literally collision proof. So I was just driving around this robot dog at the lunch and just going up to people with the robot dog, saying hi, and then just having the robot scoot away. Really funny.
When you gave your presentation, tell
Yes.
me about what you thought
Um, like after or during?
during and after.
I think during I was like pretty like calm and collected. I was like, okay, I'd run this through several times. It was probably like my 10th time running through it. So it's like, okay, like I knew what I was going to say. I wasn't very nervous, but I was also like thinking of some examples of how I could interact with the audience. And I
Mhm.
think after I was pretty happy with the result and I liked how it turned out and all that sort of stuff. Actually, I have a recording of me giving the presentation because that's on the
Oh,
recording.
you
I can
do?
send that to you.
I
That
would,
is going to take a long time to upload. So let me start that upload now, actually,
oh,
because it
you
took
can,
me an
uh,
hour.
oh, well, you can take your time on that. I
I
would
can do it in the
love to,
background because it's basically a passive thing.
well, what I would love to do is, if it's okay, just to see a couple of slides
Yes.
of your
Yes, you may.
presentation before we begin, because
Yes.
I would love to see your progress and tell me what the major concept of your presentation is AI, ethics. Tell me more about what it is that you're talking about.
I was primarily talking about the social, education, and job aspects of ethics and AI. So for the social aspect, it was mainly touching on how social media can be used as a
Weapon?
like a weapon mainly as a weapon and how it has, there are a bunch of privacy concerns surrounding it, and then also the social misinformation, disinformation sphere. And
Yes.
then we touched on the education aspect of it, how AI negatively impacts education. And then we flip hopped over to how we can better incorporate artificial intelligence into the curriculum,
Oh, that's very nice.
specifically using. Ever heard of Magic School?
Tell me about it.
It's a software for both teachers and educators. I actually met the founder of Magic School last year because I was at another conference that I'm going to again later this year. in less than a month. Yeah.
I feel
So
so proud of you. I'm just
I
so
am
proud of
basically
you.
conference hopping at this point. I do school and then I go to conferences. That's how I can describe my life. Um,
Yay!
so what ended up happening is it's on the teacher side, it lets you like create lessons, quizzes, and stuff like that. And on the student side, it like basically functions as like a more educational focused version of ChatGPT. And it can actually take on the persona of different historical figures, which is very cool. Like yeah, so yeah, that's what Magic School is. And then
Are you ready for this?
what? Sure, go
Okay.
ahead.
We're filming. This is just between our particular filming because I want to tell you something.
Okay.
You're on to something about social media being used as a weapon. Let me tell you why. The United States has different allies that exist. We have allies. Let me make sure
Yes.
my phone is
We have
on.
allies in Europe and Asia. Let me see if I can name them.
Mhm. We have, let me,
France, UK, Spain, Germany, Poland, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Finland, Norway, Sweden, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Jordan, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines,
Mhm.
um, to a partial extent, Pakistan, partial extent Iraq, partial extent Greece, Turkey, any other members of the NATO alliance, which I'm probably not. Oh, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Romania.
Mhm.
I don't know about Moldova. Most like, I wouldn't say Georgia. But yeah, we have a lot of allies.
Mhm. Excellent job.
Oh,
Excellent job, Nemo.
Canada, Denmark, Mexico, Colombia. Um, God, I'm trying to think of U.S. alliance structures. Not Cuba. We hate, no, Cubans hate us.
Let me tell you some people who are not on that list. North Korea, Russia,
North Korea, Russia,
Iran,
China, Iran,
China,
Syria
Syria.
to some extent.
Let me tell you a little bit
Cuba,
about that.
Venezuela.
So let me tell you a little bit about that. And remember, this is just a video for our class. You and
Yeah,
your mom are going to be looking at this video, okay?
yeah. Mm.
Now, did you get the membership code and everything else for the website?
Let me check.
So I gave you a membership code and login so you can go on my website and you can look at all the past videos in one place for you.
Okay. Yeah, yes, I've seen it.
Good, good. So
Let
this video is
me
going to be
log in
posted
real
there
quick.
for you.
Okay.
So this is what I want you to know. And this is going to be just this is for your information.
Mhm.
The new type of electronic wars that's going to exist is
Or-
you hit it on the head, bam, with a big hammer, bam, you've hit it on the head. It is cyber spoofing in the sense of there are what we call non-US allies who are creating fictitious um, social media accounts, spoofing it as if it's from the United States with a specific VPN that's actually redirected.
Yeah.
What happens is that there's bad actors or foreign entities that are not allies of the United States who have operations of
Yes.
multiple people to create
Yes.
millions of people online who appear to be from the United States.
Yes. I am well aware of this.
And as a result, these particular profiles, this run by individuals
Mm.
or individuals that operate artificial intelligence for bot responses,
Yeah, one or the other.
these individuals are bad actors that will pose as American citizens using AI type of software to represent what they think is a merge of images between potential
Mm.
people that look like United States citizens and will post online. Now, here's the issue with this. When there's large um, social media owners who are posting things online and asking for votes or anything in the community forums, let's say, and I won't name any names, when there's like big social media people, when they've said, okay, I want you to vote, should we do this, should we do this? And then they're putting up online things from the United States government that is only supposed to be known within the people that work in the government.
Yes.
That is, can be a form of government assault.
Yes, that is one thing.
Hmm.
I would actually be more concerned about a different thing of because that while you bring up a very valid point,
Oh, what, may I continue?
yes, you may continue.
So get this. The reason why that is extremely difficult is because foreign entities have been on a mission for several decades to create a civil war within the United States, where the
Yes.
people, the North and South, which are now disseminated and redirected within political parties in the United States, will
Mhm.
get so charged thinking that someone who is responding is actually an American, but actually they're a person from a foreign country that is not necessarily in the United States allies list. That set of individuals or the responses or the heated discussions are purposely placed to divide and eventually attempt to conquer the United States Republic and the governmental structure at a local, state, and federal level and international. So there are people weaponizing social media to make individuals think that a certain body of people will do this, make people think that a certain body of people do this. So they will separate and dismantle the American population with different viewpoints in efforts to create a civil war within the country itself. So there's different type of the CIA has been looking at this type of stuff for a very long time, and so does the NSA, the National Security Agency. And
Mhm.
so what they do is they look at the different efforts that are being done to dismantle the unionized effort of the people and the citizens of the country by what we call bad actors. And this has been something that has been done for a very long time. But now the tool of artificial intelligence embedded into social media is what's fueling this particular concern on a security level now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I have
Thank you for
yeah, I am
listening.
very familiar with that point.
Thank you
Yeah.
for listening.
Yeah.
May I listen to you and what you were saying?
Yes. That is something that I am well aware of. I have seen several examples of this sort of thing. Ever heard of the Internet Research Agency?
Mhm. Tell me what
Yeah.
you mean by it.
It was basically this organization founded by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the former leader of the Wagner private military group, who was contracted to the Russian Federation. Um, so yes, they were working on behalf of Vladimir Putin, and it is highly suspected that they were a internet that what they would do is they would create bot accounts and try to influence Americans by pretending to be American voices and basically like retweeting, reposting, and amplifying like strong um nationalistic rhetoric, which I
It's called
100% agree with.
propaganda.
Propaganda, basically using a method of propaganda called fire hosing to basically flood so many lies and put so many lies downrange that it is impossible for traditional counter methods to adequately be able to stop this fire hose of misinformation.
So
Um,
so
yeah.
what they're doing, what cybersecurity individuals are doing now is finding out the cell. So there's groups of people. It's usually a hub, and it all comes and disseminates from a particular hub or set of hubs. And once you are able to identify the hub and find out the distribution location, you can cut down everything that came from that distribution chain. So that's a process within artificial intelligence, what we call forensic artificial intelligence, where you backtrack exactly the roots and sources of how the artificial intelligence was propagated through electronic systems.
Okay.
With that, do you have your presentation?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, good. Oh, you sent it.
Yes, it should be in a PDF form.
Oh, in the email?
Yes, in an email. Yeah.
Oh, let me take a look. I've got to log into my email over here. Let me take a look.
Select a different camera
Thank you for emailing it.
I can also email the video of me giving the presentation, but I currently have to download that onto my computer, which I am actively doing because, well, I've actually found it's for files that are a gigabyte. Yes, this file is a gigabyte. Yeah, it's just better to upload them manually with a wire. Thank
I
God
am
for USB-C connection.
I am logging in.
Okay,
Thank you so much. I don't usually have the email on this particular computer, so thank you for your patience.
problem.
I'm just so happy to hear of your research. I am in full support of you.
Thanks. Uh, pictures, camera roll, roll. Hmm.
Mhm. Let's pull it up in here. Oh no. I'm having some issues with this particular pulling it up on this computer.
Okay. Let me
Oh.
know if you want me
Are you able to
to.
share it from your side?
You'd have to probably give me perms, but
Yeah,
I probably could. I
yeah, let's try
probably
it
could.
sharing it from your side.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the
Bingo.
multiple participants, and so try it now.
Here. There we go. Hi. Okay, this is working. Does it work?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's take a
Yeah.
look.
Okay. So this is the presentation. Title slide. Table of
Who is the other
contents.
person? Someone else is on there.
Yes. I'll show you. The other person is this guy, Aditya.
Oh
He
no.
works with me on a lot of the AI stuff that I do.
Yours is history and math,
Yeah.
and his is math and physics.
Yes. He's currently taking AP Physics as a sophomore,
Oh, good.
which our school does not actually technically allow, but he was able to do it by taking chemistry over the summer. Really weird. But yeah, this is our introduction.
So,
Basically everything we'll cover.
introduction, who we are and what we're talking about, AI education. Oh no, society and AI, privacy, misinformation, disinformation. Three, AI education, student school use. Four, AI jobs and augment or replace. Five, the positive solutions, how to make sure these ethics are followed. Oh, I'm curious about number five. And conclusions, including your thoughts and questions. Oh, can we jump to five?
Yes. Yeah, here. And this was some of the pros of society and AI. So increased detection of legal activity, and you can read it.
Increasing every legal activity, rapid detection of harmful content, user or privacy breaches. Expedite content review can provide personal responses instantly. Enhances administration tasks. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the
This is the solutions.
laws surrounding the usage and development of AI? Good. Greater awareness of AI. Good. Ensuring human input. Excellent job. That came
Yeah.
from. I'm really proud of you integrating that.
Yeah. And then this was the our concluding slide. This quote, and then what we did is we were like, okay, hey, we can either have this scenario on the right or the scenario on the left, and it is up to us as human beings to ensure which one we want. Do we want the positive future or the not positive or the negative future?
I'm
It's up
so
to us to decide.
proud of you. Oh my God, you're learning so
Thanks.
well. I'm so proud of you. This is excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations. Oh, I definitely, at another time, may I? sit through your presentation to see the
Yes.
full presentation?
I am trying to send you the video of it.
Oh, great. Okay, that's okay.
Uh,
Well, I will
I,
I will
I
look
can
at
I can
your
actively
video
work on
after
it
this.
now because of the fact that I have to kind of right because that's photos.
That's okay.
Okay, well I'm partially yeah, okay, I'll work on that later. But yeah, that was my what I did, and that's not even everything.
I'm
Uh
proud of you, and the charts are very clean and well put together.
yeah, we
Very
spent
nice.
a lot of time working on it and we made a lot of changes. But yeah, and then
Congratulations.
there's that, and then I'm going to another AI conference that I went to last year on April 5th, where I'm going to be giving another presentation, not a presentation perhaps, but like more of like a science fairy type kind of deal. And so we're going to adapt that presentation that you just saw into something more suitable for an educational environment. I already have a few ideas. I'm going to spend 2 days in San Diego. And yeah, I'm going to get district awards for both of those, which will put me up to three
Yes.
by the
Please
time
take
I'm a
photos.
junior. I will.
Take some
I will
photos.
take a lot of photos. So yeah,
Yay!
that is my work. I talked to the assistant superintendent today because at this point she knows my name and knows who I am because of the fact I do so much of this.
And
And I was talking to
who's
her,
the
Dr.
superintendent?
Janisek, Miss
Ah,
Janisek, and the assistant superintendent. And I was talking with her, and I mentioned this other conference I went to earlier, late last year, called Future Leaders Conference down in Orange County. And me and Aditya, who I went with, we
well,
loved it.
when you see the superintendent next time, let the superintendent know that you're taking this class. I know
Yes,
the superintendent, and I've
you work at Cal State Northridge, right?
yeah, I work at Cal State Northridge
Oh,
and then at
that
UCF
makes
for
two
summer.
professors now that I know of that work at Cal State. Because
Mhm,
my art teacher actually designed the art program for Cal State Northridge.
mhm. Yeah,
Is
I
Louis Tucci.
yeah, when you get a chance, talk to the superintendent and then actually the Board of Education and Superintendent, I've emailed back and forth about artificial intelligence classes on your campus. So it is something that um, they know the
Pushing.
importance of artificial intelligence, which is
Definitely. I mentioned and Janisek what she wanted to do was
Mhm.
she wanted to have what I just told you about, the presentation I gave. She wants to do that again next year, but even bigger. So more sessions and even have companies attend other than just Chevron. And then finally, my senior year, so 2027, she wants to have a like FLC style event where there are like several conferences, other schools invited, even more companies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so amazing. Well,
Yeah,
please, keep me informed
will
and
do.
let them know what you are learning. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
And finally, that's
Are you ready for the
I have
presentation?
I have a little more. I was showing her this graduate profile thing me and Aditya were working on, and then when she did, she mistook me for Miss Savage, who runs our college and career center because I work with her so much. She mistook me as Miss Savage's intern. I'm not Savage's intern. I didn't know that Savage had an intern. So yeah. And she was amazed and loved it. So I think the assistant superintendent loves me.
Oh, good.
So yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, well, you
yeah.
do excellent work. You do
Thanks.
excellent work, and your presentation shows that. So it's like you're a very talented, gifted person, and you take information and you process it and you see how it applies to all different places. Not many people have that intellectual ability or skill. So you have the ability to take in information from various places and see how it applies in various areas, whether it's technology, whether it be defense,
AI,
like
yeah, all that sort of stuff.
policy. That is your gift. And so just keep walking in that. And I can
I'm
see why
definitely
she's all excited and loves to be able to help you is because you do excellent work. So this is a
thanks.
wonderful thing, and I am proud to look at your work and proud to look at your what you are studying and to listen to what you're saying.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, Okay,
On to the
there you go.
class.
Okay, we're gonna go to the definitions
Yeah,
because remember we had a whole lot of definitions
we
last
have a
time,
hella definitions to do.
and we haven't
Honestly,
even
I
scratched the surface. Here, we're gonna go over at least on now. We're gonna go as many as we can today,
yeah,
and if we don't finish, it's gonna be your job to look at the rest of them. But we're gonna go over
I
as
can do that.
many definitions as. And
Yeah.
this is just the technical part,
Hmm,
and every course has definitions. So we're gonna be looking at definitions today.
got it. Okay.
Thank you again for showing me your presentation. I'm very
No
honored to
problem.
look at your work.
I will probably share with you next time the progress we make on what we do for the air show in San Diego.
Oh,
If
that'll
you
be very
want
nice.
to, if you want to come down, it is, let me get the address.
Wait, is it? I have
It's
done.
open to the public. Open to the
You know
public.
what? Someone else has invited me down there too. It was like one of the officials at Cal State Northridge. I think this is probably a sign I'm supposed to be going or something.
You should.
When
It is
April?
at 111 Harbor Drive, San Diego. We will have our own room. It'll be from 2:40 to 5 p.m.
Where is
Look for
this?
something at 111 Harbor Drive, San Diego. It's this massive convention center. Massive convention center.
And this is for
The
your
air show. The air
school?
show. No, this is like an international thing. Like people like from all across the US and even some people from around the world will come. It is full of teachers and educators. You
Well,
should
you're the
100% go.
second person this within the last 5 days to tell me about this. I think this is a sign. Okay,
You
well,
should
I
go.
will look forward to your information, your email, and remember, always CC your mom on it too. So
Yes, we'll do.
thank you. Let's get started.
All right, okay.
Let's get started. And I am excited to hear about all this. All right. AI definitions. Woo! Woo! All right. So let's look at this AI definitions. We talked about the AI literacy class. Of course, I'm Olympia LaPointe. And we
Yeah.
talked a lot about artificial intelligence last time. We talked about machine learning. We talked about large language models. We talked about generative AI. We also talked about hallucinations.
Yes.
We also looked at responsible AI. We looked at multimodal models of being able to capture text, image, sound at the same time. We looked at prompts, and remember, we we tested it out. We did a prompt. The prompt
Yes.
gave you a great resume, and poor
And it
other
gave
little.
some random person from random woman a really bad one.
Wasn't that horrible? It's absolutely
Yes.
horrible. Do you know so funny? I went and I applied. There was a Facebook position in New York and up north, and I applied for it the other day. And I thought to myself, do I really want this job? And I'm like, well, I'll put it in anyway. And so I put it in, and so I used the generative AI to put some information there for a prompt, and it gave me two different results based on if I was a woman or a man. So I put my resume as if I was a man, and it came up different things. So I purposely used some of the words that came up for man and put it in my resume because what I've learned is in certain prompt engineering, the women and the men, as we've learned before through their Perplexity AI, they give different results. And
Yeah.
search engines with an optimization when people try and apply for jobs, if it's a technology job, they typically look for keywords that come from men, not women. The keywords that come from men are execute, um, capture, um,
Like more authoritative terms. Or
authoritative.
even just terms that are just like, seemingly more
But
aggressive.
and so those kind of terms are more masculine oriented
Mhm.
opposed to terms like created, developed, um, oversaw. Those are terms in which are typically associated with communication, which is more feminine. So the AI algorithms are looking at people who have they assume that the people for the technology jobs are people who have a masculine background, so it searches the resumes for masculine sounding resumes that have those keywords in it, as well as keywords that are from the job functions. So one of the suggestions that exists is not only put your information into one of these uploading formats, but it's also to share your information is if you're a man, if you're a woman, so you can at least be seen for technology jobs. Isn't that crazy? Copilot.
Yeah, in like the worst way possible.
Exactly. And so that is a situation what we call it just point blank is a type of discrimination that exists.
Yeah, it is a type of discrimination based on gender. It is gender discrimination, like
Exactly. So
point
Maxwell,
blank.
when you become and are placed in a position of power, you will be able to know how certain groups of people are excluded by algorithms, since you'll be able to make decisions on how to eliminate that.
Yeah,
Co-pilots. We talked about that. It was co-pilots are a personal assistant. And we
yeah,
talked plugins last time. And plugins are a way for us to uh, add an additional software to whatever artificial intelligence that we have to perform a specific type of function. Now, the key thing with this is not all the plugins are accurate, and some of the plugins carry viruses, but they're not just any viruses. They're called AI viruses or AI deepfake initiators, where someone has to be extremely careful about the plugins that they choose to put into an AI software system, because sometimes these plugins will have malicious software designed in a country that is not an ally to the United States. And that type of particular plugin can interface and gain information uh, from uh, from artificial intelligence. For example, SolarWinds was a plugin that was used on many laptops of different governmental officials. And SolarWinds had a plugin that was updated, but the plugin had malicious software, and SolarWinds mapped with um, Microsoft. And so when the plugin of SolarWinds was updated in November, I think of 2021 or 2022, that update carried a hacking software that went in and not only pulled information from the computer, but it pulled information with the access code of Microsoft Office and scanned and read classified emails from Microsoft Office, because the plugin in SolarWinds was something that hacked the security system of the Microsoft platform. So that's an example of a plugin that you have to be extremely careful about. Any plugin, you have to make sure it doesn't have a hacking capability.
yeah. Reminds me of. Have you ever heard of Stuxnet?
Tell me about it.
It was this computer virus. I'm not sure if it was artificial intelligence because this was made in the 2000s. Computer virus uploaded into the Iranian nuclear enrichment into a Iranian nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz, very infamous. And what it did is it would spin the. Do you know how uranium enrichment works?
Tell me.
Okay. So basically, I'm going to give the part that's relevant. You basically, in order to separate the U-235 from the U-238, what you do is you have these like cylinder type objects, and you spin them at a certain speed, and then eventually some of the U-238, because it's lighter, it's either the U-230 or U-235, one of them will fall off, and then if you spin it for longer, get more enriched uranium. The goal is to get U-235 is that is a better like is weapons grade uranium. Um, and what this computer virus did is it would make these centrifuges, it would make them spin much faster than they should, but on the reporting screen, it would show that they're spinning normally. And this,
Mm,
it would basically slow. They'd have to be replaced much more frequently, and they just spend more money on it. So it reminds me
that's
of that.
a type of what we call deep fake hacking.
Yeah.
Deep
This
fake
was made in
hack.
the 2000s. No one
Yeah.
ever claimed credit for it, but given how malicious the software was, how targeted, precise, there are about two countries with the capability,
Mhm.
and these countries would have the capability and hatred. The United States and Israel. It is
Ah,
highly speculated that they worked together to create this sort of computer virus to get it because the US would have the means and Israel would have the hatred, and then it
the
was their
United
both their
States
mutual
and Israel
interests.
has been always working together within STEM. With this, I want you to read this definition: AI ethics.
AI ethics. AI ethics refers to the issue that AI stakeholders, such as engineers and government officials, must consider issues that AI and government engineers must consider to ensure that the technology is developed and used responsibly. This means adopting, implementing systems that support a safe, secure, unbiased, and environmentally friendly approach to artificial intelligence. Basically, you're not creating Skynet, and don't give AI guns or nukes. Also, make sure it doesn't destroy the planet. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, well, AI ethics is making sure I'm just going to put it point blank. Um, no pun intended, but get this. Oh, get this. Artificial intelligence is like a gun.
Yes, it is.
It is a powerful tool. You can use it for various things, and it's a tool. Just like a hammer is a tool. An automobile is a tool. These are powerful tools. How we use it and the way we use it and how we need to keep people safe in using it is what's considered AI ethics.
Yeah.
There's such things as gun safety laws. So children are not killed by mishandling it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
such
kind of
as
why you have a safety on a weapon.
yeah, there's is because we have the Second Amendment. We have the rights to bear arms according to U.S. Constitution. So with that, you have to have some sort of safety measures. A car. A car is
Or
a
safety
dangerous
laws.
weapon. If it's run off the road, it can literally kill people.
It has, probably has even today.
Airplanes, the same thing. So these are extremely powerful tools. And at the same time, there has to be a way to make sure it's being ethically used correctly. Now, an airplane is supposed to take a person from one city A to another city B, and not supposed to fly into a World Trade Center, for example. These
Yeah,
are examples of like
yeah, for example, yeah.
ethical uses of advanced technology. All right, let's go back to definitions. All right, my friend, what does this say?
It says algorithm. A algorithm is a sequence of rules given to an AI machine to perform a task or solve a problem. Common algorithms include classification, regression, and clustering.
Yeah, an algorithm basically is a mathematical code that's used to predict patterns in data. And this mathematical code is based on what we call applied mathematics of statistics and probability. This is what I studied artificial intelligence for my master's degree. So artificial intelligence is built on what we called applied statistics and probabilistic risk assessments. This statistics includes bootstrapping, regression, ANOVA, cluster analysis, classification, and Brownian motion. So all of this goes into what we call an algorithm. I had no idea that when I studied this literally 20 years ago, I'd be teaching it and writing a book on it. Algorithms. So the most important thing is an algorithm is math. What
Yeah.
is this one?
Application Program Interface, or API. A API, or Application Program Interface, is a set of protocols that determine how two software applications will interact with each other. APIs can be written in programming languages like C++, or JavaScript, or Java, or Python, or, if you are just new to code, Scratch. And if you really hate yourself, write in assembly.
Oh, you remember the codes from last week.
Yes, I also know them because I am friends. Aditya programs, and a bunch of my other friends also program. So I also know some programming terms. And I've
Good,
heard that assembly is you don't code in assembly.
good. Application Programming Interface, API. API or Application Programming Interface is the set of protocols that determine how two software applications are going to interact with one another. APIs tend to be written in programming languages such as C++ or Java. It's like two people making a contract. You know how if two people are going to
Yeah.
do business together, they have to create a contract, how
Yep.
much money is going to go over to one place and how much money is going to go into other? Well,
Yep.
API is like the contract between two programming languages. What is one going to give and what is the other going to give and what information do they keep separate? That's API. Big data!
Yippee.
Do you want to read
Big
it or you want
data.
me to read it?
Yes, I can read it. Big
Okay.
data refers to the large data sets that can be studied to reveal patterns and trends to support business decisions. It's called big data because organizations can now gather massive amounts of complex data using data collection tools and systems. Big data can be collected very quickly and stored in a variety of formats.
All right. Here's big data. You know how we're using Zoom?
Yep,
How many other people are using Zoom at the same time across the world?
probably thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions if we're lucky.
Millions of people right now are on Zoom. That's what we, and then all that information has to get stored somewhere. It gets stored on some sort of a server or cloud. And that's called big data. All that is big data. From this one 5 minute time period, people are on Zoom. All that data has to be stored somewhere.
Yeah,
Big data isn't just that. Big data is also, let's say, for example, big data is your cell phone. Like I take it, did you have a cell phone?
yep,
Okay, good. So all of your information from all of your texts is housed in some sort of cloud. Like all your text messages are housed for 30 days at least within a clouding system. Let's say it's Google or Apple or whatever it is.
yeah,
And how many millions of people have these phones? Billions. There's billions of people on the planet.
yeah.
And all of the people's text messages have to be stored? Do you know how many text messages someone writes in a day?
I can write like 100 if I'm talking to someone, so
Oh, I just got in a conversation with my best friend this morning, and he's like, "You text me all the time." I said, "I do." Long story short, people can text a lot. That's called big data. And that's one example, just one example of all that big data is used. Now, there's big data from MRIs. How many millions of people go and get their tissues scanned at hospitals? There's big data uh, within the the telephone companies on how your information gets transferred to and from and out of the country that keep people safe from different type of attacks. This is all big data that people have to go through and search through and find these patterns with so they can isolate any type of threats. Big
mm,
data.
yeah,
Chat box. Do you want to do this one?
sure. Chatbot. A chatbot is a software application designed to imitate human conversation through text or voice commands. Examples
Mhm.
can be ChatGPT, ChatGPT, ChatGPT. Oh, Copilot also works, I guess.
How about DeepSeek
Yeah, DeepSeek too. I was mainly using ChatGPT because it's the big one.
and Perplexity AI?
Yes.
These are all, see, that is the machine learning that we talked about last time, that takes all these different algorithms together and combine them in a package. Then the large language model is what combines and converts the mathematics to a language of the region or whatever, wherever it's being used to convert all the patterns into um, verbal or understandable communication from the mathematics to the output. So this chat box is a software application that uses the large language model to take in command and also give out results. Cognitive computing. Cognitive computing is essentially the same as AI. It's a computerized model that focuses on mimicking human thought processes such as pattern recognition and learning. Marketing teams sometimes use this term to eliminate the sci-fi mystique of AI. So they go, yes, we use cognitive
Cognitive
computing for this.
computing. Cognitive
Mhm.
computing.
So instead of using the word AI to freak people out, they go, oh, we use cognitive computing techniques. Bing, 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 bing. That's another code word for AI.
Yeah.
So now, like for example, the human brain can determine if someone's lying. Do you know that?
Yeah.
It's like, for example, it's like where you look, like if you look up directly, you're accessing information. If you look to the left, you're trying to remember something. If you're looking to the right, you're trying to make up something. So I'm not quite sure if this is reversed or the mirror is. Hopefully it's the same way. But when you look up, you're trying to access something from or you're trying to remember something. When you look to the left, you're trying to logically place it in the order in which you can communicate it. If you're looking to the right, that means that you're completely lying. So, like for example, CIA people and people that work undercover and people who go on these special assignments where they have to not be found out,
Yeah.
they have learned this, where they can 100% know what's happening by because they have learned to pick up the patterns in people's movement. Like for example,
Yeah.
when someone wants to pretend like they are someone else and not be recognized by artificial intelligence, what some of the, I remember reading this, what some of the um, agents will do, like the secret agents, because artificial intelligence will recognize movement patterns, what they will do is alter their movement pattern. Like, for example, they might put a brace on, so, or they may put a rock in their shoe, so the gait is different, so they can't be determined through artificial intelligence mechanisms. So the human brain has the same ability as an artificial intelligence because the artificial intelligence is coded to recognize a pattern. Like, okay, if someone walks like this is John Doe. If
Yeah.
someone doesn't walk like that, that may be Keith Jacobs, you know?
Yeah.
So what someone does, the human brain can automatically, like for example, I have to wear contact lenses on. And I wear specifically color contact lenses because if I wear the clear ones, number one, I can't read that well. And then number two, I know that I have to take these out at the end of the day. So it's like more practical for me to wear color contact lenses. So I know, oh, I have to take these out so it won't get lost in my eye.
Yeah.
When I didn't have the color contact lenses on or just the contact lenses on in general, I could not see who someone was 50 feet away. I didn't have my contact lenses on. But how I knew who they were is I would look at how they were walking. I would know, oh, that's that's Susan.
Mm.
Oh, that's Justin. Oh, that is Karen. And it's because I would look, my brain would process their walk and look at the pattern of their movement of their arms or legs. And even though I could not see details in their face, my brain would pick up the pattern of their gait and their walk, and I could determine who they were feet away, even though I couldn't see the physical details.
Mm.
When a computer is created, it's created with an algorithm to identify that pattern. And it's identified the pattern through training data. If you give a whole lot of video of Susan walking through a door, it will pick up through a training pattern, through what we call it training data sets. It picks up that information of the movement that happens within that video. So the algorithm is trained to determine that person's walk and that person as being Susie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Interesting, isn't it? So,
Yes.
so when we talk about cognitive computing, you know how my brain would determine and know that I was looking at Susie? Well, you can code a computer through cognitive computing to make decisions like a human would know by looking at someone's walking gait. So that's where
Yeah.
cognitive computing comes from. It's mimicking the human's brain's ability to find pattern recognition.
Okay. Got it.
Computer vision. Computer vision is an interdisciplinary field of science and technology that focuses on how computers can gain understanding from images and video. For AI engineers, computer vision allows them to automate activities that the human visual system typically performs.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that type of situation where I was noticing who Susie was, and I was seeing and understanding how she walks. So then computer vision is gaining understanding from the multiple images of how Susie walks to know. oh, no matter what type of store she walks in, I can automate this particular computer program to identify her. For example, used within identifying terrorists in different countries that travel in airports, let's say.
Yeah.
For example, this is really interesting that I found out. You're interested in the State Department, right? In
Yeah.
like that. Okay. So this is one of the things that I found out. And just trust me on this. I just
Okay.
won't say where I found it out, but just trust me on this. What I learned is that there are lists, blacklists at airports.
Yeah.
These lists exist for people who are highly wanted for some reason.
Yeah. I don't think that is a privately. I've known about that for like several years. These sorts of lists exist to where if someone's like boarding pass gets scanned, they use a certain name, then security will be immediately notified and they will be taken in for questioning. Like, hey, what the hell are you doing here? Because,
Mhm.
on our list it has you listed as a terrorist.
Mhm. So
So either they'll
every
get any.
single every single country has a
Mhm.
list like this. Every country. Every country
Yeah,
that you go to on the face of the planet will have a list. When there's not someone that can necessarily check someone walking, guess how they have identified them?
facial recognition.
Through what we call this here, computer vision. Can give understanding of images and video, and AI engineers computers visions allow them to automate activities that the human visual system typically performs.
Mm.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So computer vision system, like there was somebody that went to Thailand the other day, and so there's biometric identifiers when he went to Thailand where they identified someone who they were by their iris scan when they went through the airport. So that is the type of computer vision that exists when he went to Thailand. Did we cover this already? Big data?
Yeah. Yes, we did. Data mining. Yes, we did big data. Yeah.
Oh, I did it again. This was oops. I guess this was a copy and paste. I guess I was really excited about big data. So here we go. Data mining. Data mining. Data mining is the process of sorting through large big data sets to identify patterns that can improve models or solve problems. It has to go through all these data sets to figure out. I mean, this isn't just like a couple thousands of Excel lines. This is
It's
like,
millions and billions actually.
yeah, it's like every
Because you
single,
have to get an identifiable pattern, and not every data set is going to have that. And not only do you need to get one pattern, you need to get millions of patterns. So you
hmm.
need to have billions of data points that you can draw from that actually have relevant examples.
So they started data mining. I'll tell you this story. When I was working as a scientist for NASA's shuttle system, I got a call from the National Security Agency. And back in 2000, ooh, 2000. Yeah, because the terrorist attacks happened in
Oh, one.
2001. So I got a call around 2000. And they said, "Would you be interested in coming over to work for the NSA?" And I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't go that route at all. And I said, "Well, I didn't even know what the NSA was. I was so naive and I was so young and I didn't even
What's the
ask questions."
NSA?
And they're like, "We know that you are very good at data mining, Olympia Lapointe." And they said, I'm like, "How do you know my name?"
Your skill set would be put to very good use in the furtherance of national security and defense if you were to work at our organization.
Yeah, so they told me they're like, I'm like, "What's data mining?" And they're like, "You've been doing it, Olympia." And I'm like, "How do you know my name?" What didn't know? No, I'm exaggerating here. I'm really exaggerating because I literally just talked to a person and like, "Oh yeah, we're talking to the we are calling from the NSA and you have these skills that we want. And I'm like, well, what skills are they? And they're like, you know how to pull out information from large amount of data by looking at it. So I can look at data and I can pull out patterns without a computer. And so they needed somebody to train computers to do that. They needed someone to train computers to make these assessments and look at data and use the code and everything else. And from that process is called data mining. Long story short, I did not go, and I'm actually happy I didn't, because if I had gone, you wouldn't even know me, or you wouldn't even know I existed.
You'd probably be seeing a lot of stuff that you found rather ethically questionable.
So I never went, I never followed back up, and I chose to continue working on the space shuttle program and then going into the regular route where I could become a TED speaker and be in the public that way. Had I gone the data mining route and gone that, people wouldn't even have known I existed. I wouldn't even have met half of my best friends that I have today if I had gone that route. So one decision can change the course of your life, and I chose not to do data mining at that time. Data science. That's math. That's a fancy word for math and how the mathematics is stored. Data science is an interdisciplinary field of technology that uses algorithms and processes to gather and analyze large amounts of data to uncover patterns and insights that inform business decisions. Data science is the combination of using computer codes, looking at where it needs to be housed to keep all that information safe. It is to gather and analyze large amounts of data to uncover patterns. I was hired. Did I tell you about the time I was hired into the Federal Reserve?
No, what?
Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh yeah, I have all sorts
You
of.
have a lot of interesting business opportunities.
Yeah, yeah, and I
You
did not.
have
I did
gotten
not know.
offered to work at the Federal Reserve. You've worked at NASA. You have been offered to work at the NSA. And if I previously recall, you've been offered to work for surfaceware missiles. Jesus Christ, the military wants you.
What did you say? I never said anything about missiles.
Um, the
That was your
implication,
words. Oh, I never
you
said anything like that.
you
But I
stated,
really appreciate you've been listening. Okay.
um,
So get
my
this.
theory, you were asked to work for a defense company on certain types of budge. It was either radar or the software for radars.
So let me tell you about the story about the Federal Reserve. I'm not gonna go
Okay.
into that. Let me tell you about the story of the Fed. Well, I was after leaving NASA, I went to the Federal Reserve. I told myself the only way I'd leave NASA if I would go to something I thought was equally prestigious. And I got hired to go to the Federal Reserve, and this is in January of 2007. I'm 48, so I know I look very young. I'm 48, so when the time when this happened, I think I was like around 30 years old. And they asked me to uh the definition that we have looking at is data science. They asked me to create data science on money. For example, there's what we call supplier chain mathematics. In order to ship, move, and store anything, there has to be mathematical optimizations. How much of the product can be processed? Where is it going to be housed? How often is it going to be shipped? And at what
Yeah.
point in time will you ship it? This is anything from Amazon products, anything from Nike, anything with JC Penney's. This is what we call supply chain management with data science. So in this particular offer, money is a product. It's a product. The people who get the money are the banks. So the Federal Reserve is the bank to the banks. The banks need
Yes.
a product. Their product is the dollar bill or electronic computing systems. And so in the case of the dollar bill, the bank needs the product and they need data scientists to determine how much money they need to process to get the money in the bank. See, with the banks, they need physical cash. They need people to make sure that when people go to the ATM and get their money out, number one, there's money there. And number two, there's enough money in circulation so the economy doesn't crash. If
Yeah.
everybody went to go to the bank right now and take out their money, there's not enough product for people to take out, and so the economy will completely tank. So they needed a data scientist to do a couple of things. They needed a data scientist to create a computer program. Number one, they had a policy banking change where the policy banking change says that the information that was coming through, the amount of bills that they were processed and go through banks was going to change based on a law that just happened. So there was a different amount of volume that was actually going to go through the banks. Now, the Federal Reserve, their job was to process the money after it goes to the bank. So the bank has it, the bank doesn't have money to hold it. It then sends the money to the Federal Reserve for it to be housed. Like every single Federal Reserve has this big football field of boxes of money under it. Every Federal Reserve location that exists. So this is really interesting. I have always worked for the government. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm putting this together like, oh, I
Yeah. Yeah.
always,
You always work for the government. It's
yes,
just it's
it's so
just the military and banks wanted you and you said, "Nah, I'll pass."
so,
And then you just were like,
so I'm going to tell you the data science because the
"Okay."
story is data based on the definition of data science. So they needed somebody to create a algorithm before they were popular to determine number one, how much money was more than likely going to come in for that month or week. So that's what we call a projection analysis using statistics. Number two, they needed to know how much money they needed to process because the money came through. When the money comes through, it needs to be processed. For example, if a bill has blood on it, you have to destroy it and throw it away. If there's money in places you don't even want to know. So when you have to actually destroy that money or you have to process it and make sure it's good in circulation. And money is dirty. So if anytime any money couldn't be back in recirculation, that then product, that money product would then have to be destroyed and new money would have to be ordered from the mint. And so that's the process of how our economy works. So in this case, they needed somebody to understand how much money is going to be circulating. Number two, they needed to have a way for it to be able to determine the type of how much money had to be processed. And number three, they were going through layoffs. So they didn't have an amount of workforce that was going to be needed to process the money. And number four, they were changing out the machines because the machines needed to be replaced because they were breaking down. So this is supply chain management. And so they needed some sort of automated system to tell them exactly how they needed to bring this money around. So this was before artificial intelligence became known as artificial intelligence. They brought in 6 or 7 people from like McKinsey Consulting Group and then Boston Consulting Group to determine how they could solve this. They couldn't solve it. And so then they said, oh, there's somebody named Olympia. Can we bring her in? I came in there and I solved it. And at the same time, I realized that's just not what I'm passionate about, but I solved it. And what was created was data science. It was this algorithm and process to determine how much money was going to come through at what month in 2007 and 2008 to make sure that we had enough money at the ATM. So when people go to the ATM and pull out money, we had money there, so the entire economy wouldn't go into a a not we were in a recession, but not go into a complete depression where there was no money for everybody.
Yeah.
So they need mathematicians who have the ability to use data science to solve these major supply chain issues. So now they've created computers to represent and to do what it is that I and I'm sure others did before. And this goes back to the definition of data science. I hope you enjoyed that definition.
Very
Data
interesting.
science is an interdisciplinary field. So when you're looking at the vault space, you're looking at the employment numbers. When you're looking at the amount of product based on political science, based on laws, all this is what we call interdisciplinary fields where people have to look at information together to be able to create the solution when there are problems that stem from different sectors of society. Emergent behavior. Emergent behavior, also called emergence, is when an AI system shows unpredictable or unintended capabilities. So let's have this. This is what I was concerned about. I saw that little dog, that little the dog. I
Yeah.
got scared when I saw the dog. The reason why, because I heard it go pow, pow. It went pow. It was like that on the four car it was like some stage that was built, and you could tell that the stage was a temporary stage. And as the steel went down, pow, pow on the stage, I thought to myself, that's heavy steel. And I'm like, what stopped? And this is a very morbid thought, but this is true thinking. When I watched that dog, because we had a similar situation over here at Cal State Northridge. When I watched that dog, I'm like, what stops the dog from getting a rogue command? And instead of jumping up or pushing out a leg towards the floor, it jumped up and pushed a leg through the woman. I'm like, that would be horrible. What if we were all watching the dog have an emergent behavior where it does something in which nobody anticipated? And instead of pouncing down on the ground, it pounced down on her and put its paw through the woman. So that's what happened when I was watching this. And I'm like, that would be horrible for all of us to be
Yeah.
witnessing like some horrible situation, because there would be what we call an emergent behavior where the dog did something that no one would anticipate it doing, and it would cause someone to die right on stage. And so my brain was going like, oh my God, I hope that emergent behavior never is witnessed by people. That's the definition of emergent behavior. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Guardrails. Guardrails refers to restrictions and rules placed on AI systems to make sure that they handle data appropriately and don't generate unethical content.
Yeah. Basically an extension of AI ethics.
Like, for example, Fairfax High School and a couple of high schools in Irvine had young boys did something illegal. They used AI to make graphic images of girls. And so as a result, there were concerns that there needs to be guardrails put up for young people because they don't know they're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
For example,
Also sent you the video of me presenting the AI presentation.
oh, good, good. Oh, thank you. So there are like, for example, the young boys that did this, we don't know who they are, and we have to look at their case, and every case is different. But in this case, when they created these fake images, explicit images of the young girls using the AI, I think it was at Fairfax High School and at school over in Irvine, and it was per CBS News and ABC News. These kids now, because they did that, they could be prosecuted for a felony, and it is a felony that is a part of the um what is it called? It's a sexual felony code where that particular felony follows children for the rest of their life. And it was a concern that lawmakers were saying we need to put guardrails up. So number one, kids are not using the AI in a way that can, number one, jeopardize other people's identity. And number two, jeopardize their own future simply because they're ignorant to what the laws are on what they're supposed to be doing and not
Mhm.
doing. Not everybody has really good parents like you have, and not everybody has really good like parents to show them what is ethical and what's not ethical. So as a
Yeah.
result, the lawmakers are saying we have to put some sort of guardrails up So if the person doesn't have a parent there showing them what to do, they're not going to destroy their entire future from doing something that's terrible. So let's try and find out what type of guardrails can we put up to ensure the safety of kids. That's a guardrail. That's a
Okay.
example of a guardrail. So one guardrail is like Facebook saying we're not gonna, you have to have some sort of special permission to be able to be on Instagram if you are, um, I think you're 14 years old or 13 years old or something like that. I think they put a guardrail up. So they put now a guardrail on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram, that you can't be on at a certain time because Instagram is a type of AI that maps to Threads. Threads is also a type of AI, and Threads was banned in the UK because of there's different laws in the UK regarding how artificial intelligence is used different than the United States.
Hmm.
Hyperparameter. Hyperparameter is a parameter or value that affects the way an AI model learns. It usually set manual outside of the model. So hyperparameter is saying you shut off, well, for example, a hyperparameter is saying you shut off the AI if the AI starts harming people. So let's say that dog, if it stepped on the woman, like, and the woman goes, ah! Someone may have a hyperparameter that says, okay, dog turn off.
Yeah.
And
And
so the
basically a
dog
shut off
turns off.
switch.
Exactly. So a hyperparameter is a parameter outside of the system that controls the system. So a hyperparameter is something like a shut off switch for any type of missile.
That the AI can't edit.
Yes,
It
yes,
basically what
yes,
it
my
does is
friend.
it exists outside
Yes,
the system, but it can affect the system so that the given system that you're trying to regulate can't, regulate itself.
excellent job, my friend.
It goes in, but the system cannot touch it.
Excellent job, my friend. Image recognition. And we're probably going to do 2 or 3 or more, and then we're going to call it a day because it's like almost
Okay.
5:30. Image recognition. Image recognition is the process of identifying an object, person, place, or text in an image or video. So, example, when you put your check in, like when your mom or dad does, they put a
Cash check.
check into account, or have you ever put a check into any of your
No.
accounts? Okay, so when they use a check and they do what we call remote deposits on their cell phone, that is an AI generated system of image recognition that will look at the numbers identifying in a photo to determine how much money should be deposited into the account.
Got it.
That's what we call image recognition. Limited memory. Sounds like my Gmail account. Limited memory is a type of AI system that receives knowledge from real-time events and stores it in the database to make better predictions. So let's read
Hmm.
it again. Limited memory is a type of AI system that receives knowledge from real-time events and stores it in the data to make better decisions. All right. So for example, if somebody is, okay. All right. So the person that I'm meeting with at 5:30 says, I can't meet at 5, I can meet at 6. It's a student at LMU. All right, so
Okay.
get this. Limited memory is a type of AI system that receives knowledge. So, for example, limited memory is that the dog. You know how the dog they says you
Yeah.
tell the dog to dance. Oh, dance this music, dance this music. So the limited
Yeah.
memory is take the music that's just heard for the last 5 seconds and dance to that. You wouldn't hold the song in the dog forever. You would just hold the song in the memory of it for a 5 to 10 minute period or 3 minute period from when the song is playing, and then it exits that because there's only so much memory that can be in a system, and
Yeah.
so discard it if it's not used anymore.
Mm.
Natural language processing, NLP. Natural language processing is a type of AI that enables computers to understand spoken and written human language. NLP enables features like text and speech recognition on devices. So, for example, there's one of my friends, she's dating this, or I should say, she's about to marry this man, and he has a very deep voice. And
Mm.
Google was hiring actors where they were going to take their voices, they're going to give each one of these actors $100,000 buyout to use their voice, and they're going to aggregate all their voices to make a person that's not real, like be a
Mm.
voice on something. So instead of them using one person, they use five different people's voices, aggregate them together to make um this voice that's supposed to be human, but really it's not human. It's a combination of things. So the natural language processing is that they would be recording all these people for 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, paying them, giving them a buyout, what they call it, so they can use the inflection of their voice to figure out how people say certain things. Like, for example, if I go, "What's your telephone number?" I would say, "Oh, what's your telephone number?" with an inflection in my voice, opposed to, "What is your telephone number?"
Yeah. One sounds like a robot, one sounds like a
Mm-hmm.
human being.
Exactly. So natural language processing is making the robot sound like it's human. So when people ask for a telephone number in the United States, they would say, "So what's your telephone number?" So they go up at the end. But if you were to ask that same question, let's say in French, um, "Qu'est-ce que c'est votre numéro?" It has a deeper sound to it. So,
Mm.
"Qu'est-ce que c'est votre numéro?" which is like, "What is your numbers?" It has a deepening at the end of the voice. So every single language has its inflection points, its communication style. And what the computer AI is looking at is based on where you're from, how are more than likely you're going to say these words based on your geographic location. Then
Got
so
it.
the geographic location of France would be "Qu'est-ce que c'est vos numéros?" is different than American. So it was just, "What is your number?" Different inflection points in the sound. Neural network. Neural network is a deep learning technique designed to resemble the human brain structure. Neural networks require large data sets to perform calculations and create outputs, which enables features like speech and vision recognition.
Okay.
So neural networks, this is how the brain works. There's such things as called dendrites. It's like a tree.
Mm.
And so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
these branches of the tree, they have like, I think 10 to the I think no, 1.4 times 10. Oh no, what is it? Oh, I did this research too. I want to remember it. I want to say it's either 1.4 or 7.0 times 10 to the 14th dendrites that exist in the
Mm.
human brain. Uh, Now these dendrites are tree-like structures. Each neuron is like a ball. It's like a seed. And from that
Yeah.
neuron, there's these things that sprout out. That's called dendrites.
Mm.
So each dendrite may connect with another neuron. So here's two neurons, and here's the seeds. Here's one neuron. So the seeds sprout out as in dendrites, and then these seeds reach out and they connect to another dendrite over here. So that was what we call a neural network that gets from information from one neuron, a neuron in the brain is called basically a brain cell. A neuron is basically a brain cell, and they use the word neuron to represent that type of cell opposed to another cell in the body. So
Mm.
here's a neuron here. Here's a brain cell here. Here's a brain cell here. And these dendrites work as like tree branches to connect the information in the brain. Well, neural networks are a way to try and replicate that same type of way that the brain operates with a tree-like structure. But instead of it being a tree-like structure, it's called neural networks. And this is a
Mm.
deep learning technique designed to resemble the human brain structure. Neural networks require large data sets to perform calculations and create outputs. So they have these branches from the outputs. And these branches from the outputs try and mimic how information gets from one place to the next place in the human brain. Overfitting. How much time do you have?
I have like 3 minutes.
Okay. So let's
Like this will be the last one.
yeah, let's do this last one and then let's call it a day. I
Okay.
think we're doing pretty good. We've gotten through
Yeah.
most of it. There's just a
Yeah.
piece we've gotten through. Oh, okay. Overfitting. Overfitting occurs in machine training when the algorithm can only work on specific examples with the training data. A typical functioning AI model should be able to generalize patterns in the data and tackle new tasks. So here's overfitting. Let's say, here's an example of overfitting. It says that overfitting would be this particular heart medication has only been tested on men. But instead
Mhm.
of testing it on women, they overfit the information by assuming that the same dosage of the medication would be for women as well, even though the women have a different muscular structure, different fat intake, different fat index in the body, and they have a different temperature system for how their heart works and their blood flow. And it's just the basic biological system differences between men and women's bodies. So
Yeah.
overfitting in that type of situation is assuming that the data from the, assuming is that the data from the men will automatically apply to the women. So that's where you overfit. You don't have training data from women, but you're applying it to women, assuming it's going to be the same. And that's where there could be deadly outcomes.
Mm.
All
Okay.
right.
It was very nice talking to you.
I really, do you know, this has been a pleasure. I absolutely love just showing you all everything that I learned about this, and I'm so proud of you. You're doing an excellent job. And I'm going to be giving you some quizzes. I have to actually make them up. But I'm gonna actually give it to you so you have time and look it over and
Okay.
ask me questions or anything else. And you're doing an excellent
Alrighty.
job. Have a wonderful time rest of today, and I'm
Thank you very
very proud
much.
of your work.
You too. Alrighty. Bye.